So those that I found.
I believe the corrections just reflected who was present, and then there was an abstention, I think, that was
Right.
noted.
Any other corrections? Will be approved as, stand as approved then. Public comment, this is the time where we have on the agenda where the public can comment on items that are not on the agenda. We give you 5 minutes. Please come forward and state your name for the public record. All right, moving on to item number 6A.
Mayor, item 6A, the governing body is asked to consider and approve allowing the mayor to proclaim March 2nd, 2015 as Read Across America Day.
Is there a motion to approve that proclamation?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passed. Item B.
Mayor and Commissioners, Russ Tidwell, on behalf of the Tumbleweed Festival, requests governing body consideration for the use of the West Green at Lee Richardson Zoo on August 21st to 23rd for the 24th Annual Tumbleweed Festival. This request includes setup August 17th through 20th and tear down August 24th through 25th. This window of time is consistent with how the Tumbleweed Festival has operated in the past. The request also includes allowing volunteers to drive in gates at no charge and closing the drive-in gates during the festival to maintain safe walking areas. This is also consistent with how the Tumbleweed Festival has been handled in recent years. There were a number of other requests, I believe probably outlined in this letter. Those were more administrative in nature, and I can report to you that I believe we worked all of those out and would recommend approval.
Is there,
I'll make a motion, we approve the request from the Tumbleweed Festival.
there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That passed. Item 7.
I'm going to turn 7A over to Fred Jones to give you a report or an update on the emergency repairs at the swimming pool.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. This is an update on the work that was authorized January 20th and the additional repairs that were authorized on February 3rd. Since we've started, the 6-inch piping on the floor of the pool has been removed and they've placed in the new 8-inch pipe. Everything seems to be going well with that, and they're awaiting the arrival of fittings that will allow them to tap into those lines and put inlets on the bottom of the pool. City Engineer Cottrell is finalizing the plans for the work that was authorized on the 3rd. That would have been the repairs to the west wall of the pool. Everything from my conversations with Steve is that everything's progressing well towards getting that done. We anticipate to have all the work completed by May 1st. There's really not a lot to report in terms of additional findings, although on the 7th, when we had the polar plunge, you can see in the photo that there's some water finding its way out of that plunge pool. Not a significant amount, but a small amount of water finding its way into a crack. So that normally will be sealed up once the concrete is replaced, and it won't be going into the trench like it is right there. But we will use the additional funds authorized from the January 20th action. We'll use that to address some crack sealing issues around the pool, and that'll be one item that we'll take care of at that time. Steve, do you have anything you want to add? Okay. We don't have a lot to add. Everything's going as planned, and we're making progress.
Any questions for Fred on the update? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job.
The Planning and Community Development Department completed its annual report containing information for all 3 jurisdictions for which they provide service. If you have any questions, I think Caleb is available to answer them.
Any questions on the Community Development Department's annual report?
How many building permits are in the county?
Permits in the county, in terms of the page 11 is the Finney County Building Report. There are 364 building permits issued in the county for last year. 76 for Holcomb, and I believe it was 1,501 inside City of Garden City. So, an important note is our estimated population estimates as of January 2015 puts Hess Garden City a population of 30,761, the city of Holcomb at 2,259, and Finney County at 41,069.
What's that based on? Is
We do a
meters?
estimation based on utility services and in both communities, and then we use those formulas to help us come up with the estimate for the county as well. So,
Any other questions for Caleb? All right, thank you very much. Moving on to item C.
7C is a royalty check that we received from Service Line Warranties of America. It's included for your information. The item 7D is the staff reports. We have several. These staff are available for questions if you have them.
Any questions for staff on any of the reports presented? All right, none being, we'll move on to meetings of note.
There's several. We do have a legislative forum on this Saturday, and certainly would encourage you all to attend, especially in light of we probably are taking up a couple of stances on legislative matters outside of our legislative policy, and so in addition to talking about things with our legislators that are in our legislative policy, we have opportunity to potentially have a couple new items to bring to their attention. So hopefully you all can, some of you can make it.
Okay. If there's any other meetings or things we need to attend, just check with Salem and let her know. Okay. Appropriations ordinance, item 8A.
If approved, this would be ordinance number 2382-2015A.
I move we approve appropriations ordinance 2382-2015A.
There's been a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Been a second by Commissioner Dale. Any discussion on appropriation ordinance 2382-2015A? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passed.
Mayor and Commissioners, item 9A, which if approved would be ordinance number 2689, rezones land from low-density residential to R1 and R3 in an area generally known now as Chapel Heights First Edition. Caleb?
This is a correction to the Chapel Heights First Edition adopted zoning district. As you can see, it was planned and zoned the ordinance. However, when we put that through, we found there was an error in that. It should have been R3 and R1, and the legal descriptions had it all as R3. And so this ordinance basically corrects it as shown and planned on the map. So.
Okay.
Okay. Make a motion
Yep.
that we approve ordinance 2689-2015.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passed.
Mayor and Commissioners, item 9B, which if approved would be ordinance number 2690-2015, grants Black Hills Kansas Gas Utility Company LLC, doing business as Black Hills Energy, the natural gas franchise and the authority to construct, operate, maintain, and extend a natural gas distribution plant and system. Staff's worked with the staff of Black Hills, would say this models the franchise for which we are currently exiting. We reviewed the proposed franchise from Black Hills Energy, and as far as the amount we would receive based on based on the tool that calculates the fee on an annual basis, it didn't change from their proposal. What did change from their proposal was the length of the franchise agreement, and the recommendation from the staff is to pass it as shown in the packet here. The proposed franchise renewal term is for a 15-year period. The open windows, which elements could be reconsidered, are at year 5 and year 10. Randy, do you have anything else to add? Mike?
No, sir.
Okay. Commission have any questions? Entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2690-2015 then?
I move that we approve 2690-2015 for the 15-year period as stated.
There's been a motion. Is there a second? There's a second. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passed.
Item 9C, which if approved would be resolution number 2623-2015. Is a resolution by the City of Garden City opposing the Kansas State Legislature's consideration of making municipal elections partisan and moving them to the fall of even-numbered years, as currently contained in the proposed Senate Bill 171. There is a resolution that outlines the elements which are of objection, which are consistent with those held by the League of Kansas Municipalities. The objections listed in the whereases also model, I believe, what is in your legislative policy, particularly as it relates to local units of government being able to self-determine how they will run and what they will run, and encouraging the non-uniformity of how elections at the local level, which have been nonpartisan since the inception of the state, how those should be handled.
Any questions?
Move to approve resolution number 2623-2015, opposing Senate Bill 171.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Any other discussion on resolution 2623-2015? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passed.
There's no old business at this time to consider. Item 11A, the governing body is asked to consider and authorize the mayor and/or his designee to submit written or oral testimony in support of House Bill 2248, a bill which expands the definition of TIF eligible area to include a building or buildings which are 65 years of age or older and any adjacent vacant or condemned lots. Became aware of this legislation over the weekend. My understanding it's sponsored, is being principally advocated for by the city of Salina, but has gained the support of the League of Kansas Municipalities, and as those of us around the state that have reviewed it, that work in local government, have determined it would be a nice tool to add to the tool belt, particularly as it relates to the redevelopment of downtown or aged areas. The TIF tool, as evidenced by some of the ways we've used it, is a powerful development tool in the city's tool chest. The one thing it does not include, though, is the construction of buildings or the redevelopment of buildings, unless it falls under some specifically prescribed exceptions in state law. This would add to that list of exceptions the ability to redevelop within the boundaries of a TIF district a building 65 years of age or older and any adjacent vacant or abandoned property. That probably brings to mind some opportunities in the downtown that could be made available for developers to consider. It would certainly be our recommendation to advocate for the passage of this bill. And since there isn't anything expressly written in our legislative policy, we put this on the bench today to free the mayor and anybody that on staff from that perspective, that if we have the opportunity to advocate for the passage of the bill, we feel comfortable doing that in the name of the City of Garden City.
Do I hear a motion to approve the authorization of the mayor and/or his designee to submit written oral testimony in support of House Bill 2248?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passed.
Thank you. I'm going to also
Thank
mention
you.
that the, probably would have been better information before the vote, but the Finney County Economic Development Corporation and Downtown Vision have also written letters of support on this bill, so I think
Good.
we're all kind of the same mind on this. Item 11B, the governing body is asked to direct the trustee to call the Series 2011 and Series 2005 tax exempt bonds as described in a letter from Bruce Miller, Wheatland Electric, dated February 11th, 2015. The governing body is also asked to direct the trustee to call the Series 2010 taxable bonds as described in a subsequent letter from Mr. Miller. And on the bench is a copy received. The hard copy of this, also received the electronic copy just probably a couple hours after the packet went out on Friday. So I think all the things are in place that we need to know in order for you to direct the trustee to call all 3 series bonds.
Okay.
Mary Carson has been working with Wheatland's financial advisor and attorneys on this. Randy's also been involved as well, so we would recommend approval.
Entertain a motion to approve the trustees to call the Series 2011 a Series 2005 tax exempt bonds described in the letter as presented to the City Commission.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Thank you, Commissioner Law. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passed. Item C.
Item 11C, an update from the Finney County Economic Development Corporation. I'll invite our representatives and Delana up. Great.
All right.
That's unusual. Thank you for allowing us to be here today. As a representative on the Economic Development Board for the city, it's my pleasure to give the report for 2004. We're very pleased with all the accomplishments that happened. Our relations with the partners that we deal with in the city of Holcomb Commission, Garden City Community College, Finney County Commission, and City Commission. And we have several things in the works for 2015. Looking forward to those happening, we hope. So, but with the information that is going to be presented, I'd rather have Lana present all that good information to you here today. So again, thank you very much for allowing us to be here today.
Thank
For your
you.
work, Ray.
Thank you. I won't bore you too awful long. I would say we appreciate all of you being at our annual meeting this year. It's always beneficial when we can have our partners there, when we have a little extra time, and we know you don't like to get up at 7:30 in the morning and come to our monthly board meeting, so there you have it. You're lucky. We moved the annual one to at least a little later in the day for you.
And we thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Certainly, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have that are within my power to answer when we are done. But I would call your attention to a couple of things. Since we did just recently do the annual meeting, I'm basically just going over your annual report with you, which you guys, again, we're all there to hear. One thing we would like to say again, and we mentioned it at the meeting, that it is so exciting, and since Michelle's here, we'll say that again. Our airport is just a tremendous asset to us in the economic development field. When we're bringing folks into the community, having people come and take a look at what we have to offer, it's really nice to be able to tell them, oh yeah, you can just get on a jet and fly right here, and we'll pick you up at the airport. So again, thank you for the foresight from the commission's previous and from you as well for the support that you give to our airport, because that is really important in helping us to do our job. So thank you for that. Things that we're working on specifically, really concerned again with workforce. We continue to be concerned with that. And from our office, we've been working diligently on housing over the past several years, and I think we're making some headway there. That feels good to see a new construction going on. That's certainly still one of our barriers in attracting workforce, is just having enough available housing in the right price range that will appeal to the folks that we need to move into our community. We are absolutely at capacity. Everybody that is capable of working in our community, for the most part, is working, and that's a good thing. That's certainly a wonderful thing that we don't have folks that aren't able to find positions, but we truly are in a position where we're having to move folks to our community. It has to be imperative that all of us have that same mindset, that we're looking to move new people in, and certainly the things that you as a governing body have done with the retail expansion, the things that we've done to assist with healthcare expansion, all of those things play into that. Our educational system is extremely important in that, because it's all about quality of life. When we're trying to move people here, we have to give them a reason to want to be here. And as we all know, not everybody has the same picture of Kansas, and certainly not of rural Kansas that we all do. But if we're able to get people out here and show them what we are, I would point again to the high school, and it's just a tremendous asset for us to be able to show people the commitment. There's nothing like brick and mortar and a whole bunch of glass to show people that we really do care about education in our community. So there's a lot of value in that, and again, kudos to you guys for recognizing that and for being supportive of all of the things that help us to make our community more attractive. That helps us certainly when we have folks visit the community. Prospects hear that all the time. You guys hear that when you're involved in those prospect meetings. That's very valuable, and that certainly gives us a leg up over many other communities our size in the region. So thank you for that. Several things that got completed in 2014. The Agridyne project over in Holcomb completed, and as you guys may or may not know, they did qualify for a tax abatement, and we're following up with that now with the appraiser's office and getting that finished for them. But that turned into a nice project, and they're already talking about some expansion. So that's good. Makes us happy to be able to help out. Holcomb doesn't have as much developable land, obviously, for industrial purposes. So it's always good when we can fit them into a niche spot that they did have. Hotels, new hotels that opened over the year, Best Western, the Emerald Suites. If you haven't been out there, you need to. That is a beautiful property. And we were really glad that we were able to be a part of helping them to get that built. Marriott, again, very nice facility if you haven't seen it. And we're trying to keep them busy. We're trying to keep all those hotels full, so that's a good thing. Currently, we're working with several active projects, some very large and some not as large, and that's about how it goes usually for us. But we're working on over $1 billion worth of projects in our office right now. So obviously that's their investment. Wouldn't all equate to taxable value, but certainly big projects that we've got the opportunity to work on right now. I will follow up with you a little bit on the American Legion building, since you guys were an active part of that. I did visit with Francesco yesterday, and things are coming along. Slowly but surely, it appears. He's a little frustrated. All of the equipment is sitting in trailers waiting to be installed. So he's a little bit frustrated with some of the things that they've come across, but I think that's to be expected in the old buildings, and unfortunately, it'll be really nice when it's done, but I think it's been really frustrating to get there. So, but again, he did want me to express to you again how much he appreciates the opportunity, and he really is looking forward to serving you all and making downtown smell like pizza. So, yeah. So the last page of that is the jobs created. And I think we explained that pretty well, but this is really a voluntary survey. People don't have to give us this information, and we do gather it. It is self-reporting from our businesses. We're excited by the numbers. If you look at that, there's been significant growth over the past few years. Obviously, like I said, not all of that growth is captured in these numbers, just because it is a self-reporting tool, but I think for what we're set out to do as your Economic Development Corporation, we feel like we're going the right direction with that. We're growing the tax base, we're growing jobs, and trying to bring opportunities to our community that don't exist here now. So any questions you have, I'm happy to answer for you.
Any questions for Lana?
The job, workforce recruitment's obviously a big, and that's what I'm hearing a lot of, and that's, so I don't know what all we're doing, but
We're doing.
And I think we talked about this last year, that's so important to, and convince some people to move to Garden City and take advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
That doesn't exist in a lot of other places, so.
And we do have, I should have mentioned that, I apologize, the Workforce Connection, which is, we call it the Finney County Workforce Connection, is a cooperative effort of everybody in the community that is engaged in any way in workforce development. So whether that be the Workforce One, which is the federal arm of workforce services, or the state arm, which is Kansas Works. We have both of them involved. The community college is very active in it. The county, the city, Downtown Vision, us. So it's a real coalition of everybody coming to the table at one time. And we've had some really exciting things happen with that. We've been able to get employers to go into the high school and talk directly to the students and kind of give them a better idea of what does it mean if you get a welding certificate? What do you do with that? And plumbers, we have Sunflower Electric, got the opportunity to go and visit with them. So there's really been some good opportunities there. Not only are we working on recruiting, but it's very important that we keep what we have here and that we show them that there are opportunities right here in their own community. And honestly, with the way that the technical school is set up through the high school, there's many opportunities. Through the college, there's a lot of opportunities. So it's just a matter of making sure that these kids are aware that Garden City is a place they can build their life, and they don't need to run off to the city and then come moving back 3 years from now and say, okay, now I'm ready to come back home, you know. So certainly, but that's on us. I mean, that's us as a community. We have to be selling what we have here, even to our own, obviously. But and we're doing a lot of things. We dedicated quite a bit of the economic development budget to marketing directly to where we know there's concentrations of folks in specific job styles that don't have work. So it's going to be an ongoing process, obviously, but we feel like we're making some strides in that.
Any way to track numbers of new employees in the area, or?
Yeah, you know, we're looking now at some ways that we can do more pinpointed marketing directly for employers so that we can measure that. Right now, what we're doing is kind of a general, you know, we need welders, we need CDL drivers, you know, these kinds of things. We're trying to just hit those areas that we know have pockets of unemployment in those areas.
Food service and retail.
Yeah, and it's very difficult to recruit for retail positions typically. But what we believe to be the case is that if we recruit for the primary jobs, whether that be some kind of technical work in the community or healthcare, those types of things, we assume they'll bring family with them. That will fill a lot of the void in the service sector. So it's a challenge.
Yeah.
There's no question. It's a challenge. Yeah.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you for your
Mark.
time.
Yeah. Yes, Ray?
I neglected a while ago to introduce our chairman of the board.
I think he was noting that on his.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right.
Item 11D, Mayor and Commissioners, KDOT has requested applications for the 2015 Fund Exchange Program. This is the program by which we can exchange the federal funds for state funds and have more flexibility with the project. Staff is requesting direction from the governing body relating to an application for funding, and Steve will take it from here.
Yes, I will. This is year 5 in the fund exchange program, and we have certainly taken advantage. Pay no attention to where I came from and was educated. I do speak English. Basically, we're taking what used to be competitive federal dollars and exchanging with the state at a 10% discount for state funds that we can use essentially in any kind of street program. The first few years, we local neighborhood street reconstruction, predominantly in the Labrador Ridge area. Last year, you agreed with us on a slurry seal of the collector and arterial streets. We're due to timing of the year. Last year, we didn't get that bid, so that'll bid this spring, and hopefully we'll get that done this summer, along about the same time we do Main Street as part of the Clink project. So that's going on. This year, we're down about $3,000 in what's available from 2014, but it's holding steady. We're getting about $280,000 available for us. So we've got a couple of options for you to consider in actual projects, and then a third alternative would be to bankroll money for a larger project in 2 or 3 years. We can bankroll money for 3 years before they get a little antsy that we're not spending it. So we do have that option.
Is that held by us or held by
No,
the state?
that's the state would hold,
So our presumption is that we could hold it.
and that they wouldn't sweep it and use it
Yeah.
somewhere else.
I think we better get it now.
Yes, and I have not received an official
That it's not there?
word from KDOT as to how secure the 2015 funding is in light of all their budget information, but the sooner we can get them signed on an agreement, we've got something we can, Randy can take for breach, should we
Are those
desire.
streets, like Easy Street and Seamus, asphalt,
They're asphalt.
and they just didn't hold up to the,
Well, they're
What kind of
35 years old, pushing 40.
There were
Actually,
base issues on there.
they're, well, it was, some of the first major alfalfa field converted into subdivisions that we did back in the 70s, and we just didn't build them as good back then as we do now, so they're falling apart, to put it nicely, and we're patching patches on top of 4th or 5th generation patches, so that's why we selected the Labrador Ridge area. Those 2 streets could certainly probably make it another year if we choose option 1, which is hitting a couple of collector or arterials. Buffalo Jones from 5 Points, it says 13th, but it's actually 8th Street, I don't know.
13th.
13th? Okay. And then Seamus, not Seamus, Walnut from 8th to Garden City Avenue. Catch a couple of those. We've got a couple others that are possible. Would be Fulton from Taylor to the railroad tracks west. But again, we can use these funds on any city street. Doesn't have to be on the state highway routes or anything like that. So got a couple options. One is some collector major street work, another is continued neighborhood, and third is the less desirable bankroll it and hope that it's still there when we need it. So your direction in either of these options, or if you have some other streets you would like us to take a look at, we're certainly game for that as well.
what,
Would
go
would
ahead.
those be done, the Buffalo Jones Avenue and 5 Points to 13th and Walnut to 8th to Garden City Avenue? Would those be in concrete?
Yes.
Would that be?
Yeah,
like
that would be
okay.
concrete.
All right.
8th Street from, I think it's, Buffalo Jones south toward, that area in there is pretty rough.
That's a brick.
That would also be a considerable project. We haven't run recent numbers on that, but that would likely be maybe a 2-year.
Would that go
Phase.
to concrete, or is that in the
No,
master
that-
plan, or
no.
was it gonna be brick?
Concrete.
Concrete.
Okay.
That was one of the streets that I think everybody agreed was the bricks that outlived their usefulness and make a real street out of it.
Yeah, some of the curbing along there and sidewalks
Yeah.
could use some work too.
And that's all also eligible for use of these fundings that we don't have in some of the other categories.
Okay.
I think it comes down to, the most need. So that's, where we've, I think, fall back on staff expertise to a certain degree.
Yeah, which is
Well,
in the worst condition.
And I think Sam and I agree that the section of Jones and the block of Walnut are some of the worst that we've got, but certainly 8th Street is right up in that list as well.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we go to option 1. For
Okay.
Buffalo Jones and Walnut.
All right, there's been a motion to approve option 1 in the amendment to the commission. That would include Buffalo Jones Avenue from 5 Points to 13th, Walnut Street from 8th Street to Garden City Avenue. Is there a second on that?
Second.
It's been seconded. Any other discussion on that item? None. None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passed.
Thank you.
You have direction now.
That's what we got.
All right, thank you very much.
Did I do good, boss?
You did great.
Under boss, yeah.
Concern?
Okay. E.
E.
Mayor and Commissioners, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a proposal to clean approximately 6,709 feet of cast iron water main in various locations in Garden City. The requested work is in addition to the existing sanitary sewer collection system agreement with Mayor Specialty Services of Goddard, Kansas.
Is this kind of a
Fred?
continuation of?
Or, I guess, Mike?
Yeah, Fred's will talk to us.
Good afternoon again.
Hello.
Last year we did, I know it's a bit, throws you off a little bit. The city does have an ongoing contract with Mayor Services to do sewer line cleaning. Obviously, this is a totally different aspect of what they're doing, but last year, actually in 2013 and into 2014, Mayor and the city entered into an agreement to clean a little over 9,600 feet of water line up in the area, Hackberry, 2nd Street,
Lyle.
Lyle, well, not Lyle, but anyhow, the names of the streets escape me. Anyhow, that project was completed in 2014, and we had good results from that neighborhood. We were looking through our records and hadn't found any issues with rusty water complaints in that neighborhood. So we had discussed through our ongoing maintenance processes continuing to have water line cleaned. And so I've kept a record as we receive complaints from customers around town as to what some of the hot spots around town are and what we're seeing as we're actually out flushing hydrants and checking into these reports. So for this year, we're proposing to clean slightly over 6,700 linear feet of water main at several different locations throughout the city. The primary problem area will be on 5th Street from Fulton to Spruce Street. That water main, we haven't had any issues, at least in recent history, with water main breaks on that street. We do have issues with rusty water, so we feel like cleaning would be a prudent way to pursue improving the quality of the water delivered in that area and save the cost of replacing that particular water main at this time. That probably is an older main, and replacement will be in its future for sure, but this should extend the lifespan of it and make life more pleasant for the customers that get water from that main. The other area, the other two areas are on the west side of town. On Conkling, Gibson, Wallace, and Summit Streets. That line is in the second picture on the top right-hand corner. And that kind of snakes through that neighborhood. The line that serves customers on Conkling actually runs down the alley, which is not typical. But that line has been problematic. We would propose cleaning that area out and then cleaning the neighboring street, which is Summit Street, and then continuing to clean the line on Wallace over to Bancroft. So that should improve things there and allow us to see how cleaning will impact that neighborhood, if that will provide some long-term relief for the customers. The other area that we're also noticing, we're getting some complaints, but more so we're noticing it when our own staff is working in the neighborhood, is in the Stuckley addition, which includes Chesterfield Drive, which is kind of a L-shaped street, North Stuckley Place, North Eugene Place, and then St. John Street along the southern border. We propose cleaning all those lines in that particular subdivision. On Inge Avenue, which is the eastern boundary of that subdivision, there was a new water main installed there in 2012 and 13 prior to my arrival. So the water quality on that particular line should be in pretty good shape. So that's what we're proposing for this year for cleaning. Since the memo was submitted for the commission packet, I have visited with Mayor regarding their timetable, and we would break this project down into 2 sections. We would probably start with the 5th Street portion of the project in May, and then complete the remainder of it in October. That'll give us some flexibility. If for some reason, due to the ongoing construction for the Cancer Center at St. Catherine's, if May isn't working well, we can swap that and do it in the fall and have them do the western side of town on those projects. We could have them do that in May. So.
Okay.
The price for the project is $15 per linear foot, which will extend out to a total of $100,635 to complete the project.
Any questions for Fred? All right, none being, entertain a motion to approve the proposal to clean 6,709 feet of the water main at various locations in Garden City.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Dahl motioned, Commissioner Law made the second. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passed.
Mayor and Commissioners, the next 3 items are bid items that you would normally see on a consent agenda. However, when there's some deviation or recommended deviation from sort of the normal proceedings, we'd like to identify those specifically to the commission. And so the staff member will present each of these items, and then also kind of try their best to explain to you what may be considered out of the ordinary, and then we'll present your alternatives and recommendations to you. So first, item 11F, governing bodies consideration and rejection of bids received for a skid loader at the Garden City Regional Airport. Rochelle?
Typically what happens with skid loader bids is, with a lot of help from Sam, he pretty much put the package together, but what the city does is go out for bids for the skid loader, buy the piece of equipment outright, and then enter into an annual lease buyback program that every year you get a new skid loader with a purchase price roughly $3,000 to $4,000 depending on the model. So that's what originally we were bidding out. Once we got to the bid opening, Foley Tractor Supply offered a lease program rather than a full-out buyout program, and what that allows us to do is just lease a piece of equipment annually. We still get a new piece of equipment annually for $3,500. Rather than buying the product outright, we still can do that anytime, and we can cancel the agreement at any time as well. Sam and I, if we would have known that information prior to the bid, we probably wouldn't have bid out the product, so we apologize for that. But with that option, we decided in-house that we would like to pursue the annual lease program rather than a large purchase of a skid loader. So,
What about the 250 hours per year? Do you use it that much?
for us, I think if it was maybe in one of Sam's departments, it would probably be a hindrance, but at the airport, we probably wouldn't be able to max that. And if we do, there is additional cost associated with that, so we can monitor that.
$10 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be some training with the operators so that when it's not being operated, they need to learn to turn it off. So there's gonna be some training on that. So
Okay.
I think they can stay within the 250 hours, but it's gonna be tight.
Okay. Any other questions for Rochelle?
And no one else offered a lease?
Not with the full buyout purchase of it. You lease it kind of, it's a buyback program more than a lease.
And that's what this is where you lease it.
Right. We just lease it on an
And then-
annual basis. We can cancel it at any time, or we can look into purchasing it like outright.
Right.
Really, the decision
It's
before the
just-
governing body would be the rejection of the bids for the skid loader. That would be
And
in the governing body's realm of decision-making as it relates to the bidding of equipment. The information about the staff's intentions of further pursuing the lease is really for your benefit to know that
Sure.
there's still, the piece of equipment that you budgeted for, they're still going to achieve that purpose as they review lease programs that are out there that are within the department head's spending authority.
Sure.
So you all don't have to necessarily make the department head level decision of the lease program, but the
Right.
rejection of the bids is one that the governing
That's-
body is being asked to consider.
So our decision is to reject it or to accept it. That's
Correct.
what's in the memo. Okay.
Correct.
I would
So-
move to reject the bids for the skid loader at the Garden City Regional Airport.
There's been a motion to reject the bids on the skid loader at
Second.
Garden City Regional Airport. Commissioner Finkhauser seconded the motion. Any other discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Thank you.
Passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Rochelle. And item G, 11G, governing bodies asked to consider and approve bids received on February 10th for a solid waste side load collection truck.
We opened the bids February the 10th on a side load. Give you a little bit more background, there's a number of you that's been to a number of CNG meetings. Staff has been involved with CNG. We've gone to a conference. We've also sent Bob to some training on CNG. And so we thought this was a good time to bid an alternate to our normal side load. And that's what's making it a little unusual on this truck. But the first truck is a diesel unit. It's 140,000. If you went to a CNG dedicated engine, then we'd be at 182. There's like a $42,000 increase on that engine. So that's what made this a little bit unusual. I think staff's a little bit more comfortable about CNG engines since we've gone through so much training, so many conferences. But we felt like you should have some input on this. So our first alternative is to go ahead and buy the diesel at 140. The second one is buy the CNG engine at 182.
What's the lifespan of these trucks?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
The lifespan of these trucks, we normally trade out about in 10 years. I think we're gonna have to start stretching them out to 12. We did some cost analysis on that. In 12 years, we would pay back the engine and have a surplus of about $39,000. That's what we're estimating. But that's if our crystal ball is good on fuel costs too. So it's a 12-year truck. There is some risk that you're taking on CNG, and one of them is the crystal ball of the fuel costs. The other thing is we do not have a good trade for these types of vehicles in Southwest Kansas, but I'm hoping within 10 to 12 years there should be a trade for this truck when it's time to trade it off. Those are the risks that we're going to be taking.
The CNG?
Yes, for the CNG. We get a pretty good price for our trade-ins for the diesel units right now, but there's a demand for those. But right now, we don't have that demand for CNG in Southwest Kansas. We'll be breaking new ground here.
What's the status of a fuel station?
They should be breaking ground here soon and have it open by March, I believe.
Well, I think it's gonna be a little delayed. I think maybe May, June, because
Okay.
the Spark, the gas folks were in town this week, and actually I just left the chamber for the Lions meeting, and they're speaking there, and they're gonna speak at the chamber meeting tomorrow morning at the chamber breakfast. But what they had mentioned, they're looking at maybe closer to May, June timeframe.
Okay. And this truck won't be here until about October,
Okay.
November, October.
So reiterate the payback that you,
We should, the payback is going to be in 6 years, so the life of this truck, we should be saving close to $40,000 in fuel costs.
based on,
And that's based on
Just
the
based on
assumption
today's,
of
right.
344 diesel and $1.99 CNG, and we understand both can move, and I think our assumptions when we first started this project have even adjusted a little bit, although that hasn't necessarily manifested itself in diesel the way it has in
Gas prices.
in unleaded gas.
I don't know, is 6 years, is that pretty common? Payback? That seems like a long time, but,
I just don't have a lot of
Nothing to
experience
compare it
in
to.
CNG.
well, I meant from
Common.
other,
Oh, for common?
yeah, you know,
I don't know.
Sort of, a little bit of a new industry. I don't know the,
What do you think?
when we visited early on, it seems to be consistent with the stories we heard, so.
6 years.
What do you think, Ryan?
I'm just a chassis guy, tell you what you want, but my thing with CNG, well, a couple things. Number one is your shop is not set up for CNG. Kenworth and Liberal spent $170,000 building one explosion-proof bay. The way your facility's set up, you really, by law, you could not leave that truck inside overnight in case you had a natural gas leak out of the fuel system to get up into the rafters where your lights and your heaters and stuff are at. Number two, road fuel tax. Right now, there is no road fuel tax on CNG, and that's going to come around. I can't believe the government's let it go this long. They're talking about raising road fuel tax 12 cents a gallon, but yet you have nothing on compressed natural gas. So that's going to come to an end. It's already being talked about now, whether they actually do it or not.
How big an item is that per year, I mean, roughly?
Well, I mean, you look at what's your road fuel tax on your diesel fuel. You know, I don't know what do you figure in $3.49 on your diesel and $1.99 on natural gas. When you throw your road fuel taxes 40 to 50 cents a gallon, you know, your
pressing the
time
difference.
frame just expanded more
Yeah.
because your diesel and gas prices are getting closer. And there's maintenance costs. I mean, spark plug wires, they're talking a set of plugs and wires every year, that's $1,000 to $1,500, yeah, long-term cost. There's a lot of things involved with CNG that it's proven. I mean, they run natural gas and propane for years, but then it went away and now it's trying to come back. I think they talk about how the payback is there. Well, if you're buying 40 units a year, you can kind of justify it. If you're buying one truck a year, I don't know how to pay. I mean,
Yeah, if you
I know
gotta
I
buy
like the idea
special
of it.
equipment or tools or what?
If we had to change our facilities or add on to accommodate
One truck.
one,
Well, and you don't normally park those inside.
No, we don't normally park
But if it was
inside.
under repair, then that would create an issue on an overnight repair. So
Well, and we could do repairs, but we just have to get the unit back outside
At
at
night.
night. So we can work around that. You know, we've got a 5-year plan out to rebuild our shop anyway, so we need to look at that. But we're also looking at converting one of the pickups and another trash truck to dual fuel, so we'll have those same issues with those two trucks as well.
I've been a big proponent of the concept, when it is the right decision, and I'm kind of on the fence right now about whether we're there yet, but I like the concept, and I was glad to see this in there, but I'm talking with Brian earlier to get some of these same questions answered, and wondering about that payback, which I'm surprised that it's there in 6 years, and so that's good news. That helps, that thought process a little bit, but some of these other issues still make me wonder if we're there yet.
And I think staff is on the fence with you, and that's the reason we're needing some help from you on making this decision. I think it's getting better. We're just not sure yet, and we need some guidance.
So you'd get 2 diesel, if we can go with the CNG, just go to 2.
We're just
Just
asking for
one.
one.
truck.
Oh,
One truck
I see,
now.
one or the
truck.
other.
Yeah, one or the other.
One or the other.
Either a diesel or
How
a self-CNG.
How soon
truck
on those
engine.
other 2 do you,
I just got a phone call today. My pickup is going to Kansas City tomorrow, so
to be
to be
retrofitted?
And then we'll get the other trash truck in
Oh, so we're gonna buy new, we're gonna take those and have them
converted
to dual fuel.
to dual fuel.
Okay.
But this truck that we're talking about
Is-
here is just single CNG.
Yeah, it's dedicated CNG.
Right.
It's single.
I'll make a motion that we go with the diesel for 140,097.
There's been a motion to approve the diesel side load solid waste truck for $140,097. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded. Any other discussion on that motion? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passed. Thank you very much.
All right,
Yeah, it
thank
was a
you.
hard decision. I'm kind of along the lines with Commissioner Law, I kind of like seeing that, but, I started looking at the payout and everything else, and it's just, and then some of the other items, it's just hard to,
I think the 2 conversions would be a good start.
good start, yeah.
Okay.
It's coming, but it'll be a while.
Yeah, definitely.
Item 11H, governing bodies asked to consider and approve the bids received on February 10th for a solid waste front-load collection truck.
Give you a little bit of background on this truck too. This was not approved in the 2015 budgets, and we're asking to adjust or amend the 2015 to include this. And the reason for that is we came to you in 2011 saying we need to find a solution to our high trash generators. Instead of having 8 3-yarders sitting by somebody's business and we're picking them up 5 or 6 times in a week, come up with a system to do 1 container once a week, and we did do that. I can tell you when we started this system in 2012, we only had 5 compactors. Right now we have 5 8-yard compactors, 8 6-yard compactors, 29 6-yard loaders, and 7 3-yards. So we've expanded this fairly quick. Now we're at a point where we only have 1 truck. If that truck goes down, we don't have another truck to pick up these containers. This past year, we had 3 situations the truck went down. We were scrambling, and it's okay if we only have 5 customers that we're dealing with, we can bring extra containers. Now we're dealing with quite a few more customers. Those 49 individual spots or stops that we pick up is equivalent to 192 stops of the old system. So we are picking up with this truck. It's a high capacity truck. And so we're coming to you with a request to amend the budget to include this truck in there. We did request a used truck, seeing if we could get a used truck in for a backup. Nothing showed up used. They bid 2 brand new ones. And so their bids came in. The low bid was $197,720 was the low bid. This is also using the truck that we purchased from Rob Martin when we took over their trash service. We're using that truck as a trade-in. We didn't get as much for that truck as we was hoping, but we used it. And so we have some alternatives in here. The first one is you go with number 1 where you purchase the 197 and use the trade-in, or you buy the truck outright for $212,720 and let us try to sell that other trash truck on Purple Wave or something and try to do it ourselves and get a better price on that.
What do you think it's worth?
We might get a little bit more out of it, but the guys that are bidding on these trucks know trucks. They know the trash service out there. And we.
We're not on the right side of this supply.
We're not.
and demand, so.
This is an unusual truck that we got from Bob Martin. It's a big capacity truck for a polycart. Just not a lot of cities around here that use that. So the demand wasn't very good for that truck.
How do we, as far as budget, it comes out of their budget, I guess, anyway.
We budget
Solid waste.
all the reserves and everything in there, so the reserves are in the current budget. They're just not identified for anything, so what we would do is amend and take some of the reserves,
And use
put it back into the budget when we amend it for this truck, if you guys want to do it. The other option is to deny this, and we'll just do it in 2016, and we'll do the best we can if we have something that goes down on us. And we can sure do that. We've been doing that for a little bit.
But you said you've had 3 instances now where
This
you've
past year.
created, I'd hate to see it where we wear it out and,
A lot of moving parts on one of those trucks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I would-
And
look
right
at
now,
your
all
delivery
the
date.
customers
Yeah.
are being serviced by one truck, which is, we're
And that's
a
49.
big enough system that we don't probably need to have that much vulnerability
Sure.
in the system anymore. So the time is now to move forward with a 2 truck for the front load. And I think that's certainly our recommendation. Whether it's one of the options for this window, these bids, or whether or not you'd like to rebid this either headed into 2016 or in the period in between.
There was no-
We've got the reserves available to support the purchase of it. Okay.
I
And-
move that we go with alternative 1 and purchase the front load truck and trade in the one that we got from,
Second, Rob Martin.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll
And
second
Commissioner
that.
Fankhauser seconded the motion. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Passed. Thank you very
Appreciate your
Thanks,
much.
Sam, for your work on both.
See if they can move up that delivery date.
It's a long delivery day.
That's
Yeah.
a long delivery date.
Yeah.
That's the reason we do them early in the year.
Tell them we're in a
Item
bind.
Item 11I1, the governing body's asked to consider appointments to the newly created Community Health Advisory Board. And I'm going to invite Craig up to present this item.
Hi, Craig.
Hello, good afternoon. As you may recall, in September of last year, you approved the creation of the Community Health Advisory Board. That is tasked to advise the board in issues concerning community health, particularly issues revolving around the built environment. I've been assigned to be the staff liaison. We received 10 applications for the 9 positions. And as I was reaching out to the applicants to gauge their interest, that it was still there, I filled the positions on a first come, first served basis. The alternatives are to approve these 9 positions as recommended, or to recommend that we continue to reach out, recruit board members. As I was talking with them, these are my recommendations: that Scott Taylor, Ashley Goss, and Leanne Schrader serve for 3-year term, and then Donna Gersner, Troy Unruh, and Kevin Campbell serve in a 2-year term length. Jetta DeSalvo, Beth Coxell, and Judy Nesser in a 1-year term. And hereafter, all of the terms will be for 3 years. So just initially, we have the 1, 2, and 3 years, so we can have staggered positions. Any questions?
I move we approve the recommendations as presented.
There's been a motion.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion on appointing the 9 advisory board members to the Community Health Advisory Board? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Passed. Thank you very much,
Thanks,
Craig. Good job. Item J, the consent agenda.
I believe there's any changes, Mayor, so Commission would be interested in approving item 11J1 through 6
I will be abstaining from the vote on J4.
J4, okay.
Okay, I move that we,
Should we, on that, should we just,
The
should we pull
minutes would
that out
just
or just
reflect
reflect
that
it?
he,
Okay,
if that would be included in the motion, that'd be
okay,
helpful.
sounds good. Just to clarify.
I move that we approve the consent agenda J1 through 600.
There's been a motion to approve consent agenda J1 through 600. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's been a second. Any other discussion on any of those items? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Passed with the abstention of item 4 for Commissioner Law. Okay.
Mayor and Commissioners, there's no anticipated action after either items K through L, which are executive sessions. So if you'd like to do your commission reports, then we can shut down Channel 8 following your reports.
All right, Commissioner Fankhauser, you start us off.
I'm not gonna be here Saturday. I'd kind of like to hear the legislative report, but I'm gonna be out of town, so represent us well, will you?
Okay.
And, because I think there's a lot going on up there, and we need to be on top of it, so that's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Law?
I really don't have anything.
Okay. Commissioner Dale?
Just a couple things.
Collect your thoughts there just before you...
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, last commission meeting, we were blessed with a box of cookies from the Girl Scouts, and I really appreciate that, but they seemed to hone in this last week at my house. It was great, but I just had so many, the last few I had to just donate them to armed services. So if you all, the guys in the blue and the brown and what have you overseas would appreciate a box. So if you don't want to eat them, just buy them. Support the Girl Scouts and our troops overseas. That's all I got.
Okay, sounds good. Commissioner Law, or Dahl? Okay. Just wanted to mention that I did attend the Vietnamese New Year celebrations on Sunday, and I did receive a gift, which is right here.
What is it?
Well, we tried Googling it and tried looking it up, and we still haven't found what it really symbolizes or is, but I wanted to bring it and present it to the other commissioners. Very nice celebration, as they always seem to be. That was my first one that I attended, but very well attended by the community, and does represent our community well, and it's another way we celebrate our diversity in our community. So I did represent the commission there, so it turned out well. And Matt was there with his family, so.
The food's good.
Food's good, definitely.
Fantastic.
Other than that,
I thought of something.
Oh, yes.
Last night, I attended the Downtown Vision annual report, and I'm really excited with what their plans are for this next year with developing incentives for commercial development downtown, residential development, and current property owners to renovate their buildings. And I'm looking forward to what they're going to bring to us later on in the year. I think we'll have some good things to hear from them. So.
What about the TIF? Did they talk about that?
Matt brought up the House bill that's being circulated right now, and they're supportive of, as Matt said, and so is economic development. And
All of our buildings would probably qualify, wouldn't they?
yeah,
Probably.
And I know
They're 65 years old.
I know a representative who would support that. So.
Yeah.
okay.
You have an end?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, just encourage everybody to attend the legislative coffee on Saturday at 10 o'clock at St. Catherine Hospital. There is a free breakfast involved as well, so if you're looking for a free breakfast, we do provide that. But it is a good way to find out what's going on in the legislature, talk to your legislative representatives from here locally, and find out what's going on in Topeka. There, like Commissioner Fankhauser noted, there is a lot of interesting things going on in Topeka. Some we'll just put it as, we'll just say interesting things going on. So, as we've passed a couple of items here to help support or oppose some items that are going on. So, again, encourage everybody to go out and speak with your representatives and find out what's going on. At that point, that's all I've got. Nothing else from any other commissioners? Okay. We will then go into executive session. I would say we'd take let's take a 10-minute break before we go into executive session.
20 minutes.
20 minutes? Okay.
Well, the break can be 10 minutes. And then-
Right, and then a 20
And
minute.
then the executive session.
Okay,
Are you gonna do the motion after you come back? Is that what you're gonna do?
we can do that, or we can make the motion at a certain time to set it.
Either way. I'd kind
I will-
of like it contemporaneous with actually going into the executive.
Wait,
I will-
wait and make the motion when we get back.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay. We'll recess for 10 minutes and we'll be back at 2:23 and we'll go into executive session
After a motion.
after a motion.